Okay.
All right, Frank. Yeah, I thought I had um my Bayern Munich one, but I couldn't seem to find it anywhere. So you were stuck with the Man United one.
I mean, it was impressive.
Well, thank you. How we doing?
Oh, wonderful. I had a good day today up in Elkton, Maryland, working with a new client and trying to try and do some good for some people, so good stuff.
Yep, yep. Always got to try to do good for people.
Yep.
Uh, it's Wednesday,
Love
so
Wednesdays. I absolutely love Wednesdays.
I tell you what, Frank. In a way, the last two Wednesdays, if you look at our normal pod, which let's face it, is a politically based pod. Last couple of Wednesdays, you've seen some real hard hitting political stuff, but we decided early that Wednesdays were going to be soccer, and I don't know about anybody else, Frank, but I kind of need the break.
It's a great
I kind of want to talk to you about things that you and I both enjoy. I mean, we both enjoy politics, let's be honest, but boy, it's hard, and this is something that we both enjoy. We both, it seems like every Wednesday that we've done this, whether it was La Liga or the Prem or especially City A, that's very near and dear to our hearts. Uh, we always ended up just spending the entire pod just smiling and having a good time. And you know what, we kind of, I think we need it. So I'm glad we're back on European soccer, well, soccer, but in this case European soccer. This week is German soccer, and like I said, I think it's something that we need.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can attest to it from my own standpoint. When I said I love Wednesdays, that's exactly what I meant. And you picked up on it. And I think it's genuine from both of us that this is a very good, it's a good respite for us because we deal with, we deal with things when we talk about what's going on in the world of politics and how that spills into everyday life for people that sometimes, we talk about some heavy stuff. And it seems like more and more we're talking about heavy stuff in that arena, and it can become it can weigh on you a little bit. So to have something like this is definitely very welcome, and it's a reminder that there's a world going on that people are still trying to bring happiness and joy to people's lives. So
And just to give everybody a little bit of history, I am a history buff, believe it or not. I really am. Uh, Soccer, football, calcio, however you want to call it, is is what is known as the beautiful game. Pele, in 1977, in his autobiography, "The Life of My Life and the Beautiful Game," uh, the book's dedication reads, "I dedicate this book to all the people who have made this great game the beautiful game." And he capitalized "the beautiful game." Uh, and it has not only stood the test of time, but it has shaped politics. It has shaped a lot a lot of cities, especially small towns in Europe, little towns. It has shaped their identities. I believe it was World War II on Christmas Eve that was stopped, where the Axis people, it might have been just the English, but it was definitely the Axis powers, and the Germans actually stopped fighting a war on Christmas Eve and ended up playing a game of soccer with each other. Um, it is one of the things that if you allow it to sink in, we'll have a very special place for you. And we are very fortunate that we have the ability now to see soccer, to see this game in all of these different countries and how it affects these different countries and how all these different countries play this incredibly on paper, incredibly simple game. Yet it affects so many people, and it's so deep once you start to get into it, both as a sport and as a culture and as an identity, that it really deserves the attention that it's getting, or the we're hoping to.
It's a simple game that can be played anywhere in the world. Um, you know, they can make makeshift fields out of just about anything. Kids play it in the streets. People play it, in deserts and on concrete and in grass pastures and wherever else. And it's beautiful, like you said. It can be a beautiful game and a simple game, and the worldwide reach of it is what makes it so special, as you said, because all those folks who, are affected by their favorite team, their favorite players, they watch those things, listen, read about, talk about in the coffee shops. It's something that people gather around and watch and talk about everywhere around the world, and it's the one sport that pretty much is worldwide. So, when you talk about how it impacted that one night on Christmas Eve during probably one of the darkest times in human history, it's something that people had in common, and it reminded folks that, hey, we do have this in common. So, pretty special, very special.
An incredible game. One of the few things that basically the entire world has in common, right? Even here in the U.S., right? Because we do have MLS, and we're going to talk about how how important the Bundesliga is to American players. But it is a worldwide. It is one of the few things that everybody in the entire world has in common, is this game, and it's something that's very special. Today, you and I are talking about the German version of it, being Bundesliga, which is the top tier in Germany. We're going to talk a little bit about the league, about each side, and what we think, how the table is going to finish. And I don't think it's going to be a shock that both of us. We might as well throw it out there, Frank. Let's face it: is anybody going to beat Bayern Munich this year?
There's no way I am betting against them or picking against them.
No, I mean it's consensus. It's a consensus, right? Nick, my son and I had talked, and he's absolutely convinced. Now, granted, he's 20 years old, so he still has a lot of life to live. But he is absolutely convinced that Bayern will be either the first or one of the few teams that actually has back-to-back trebles, meaning they win their league, they win their country's cup, and they win Champions League for folks who don't follow soccer. Before we get into the league, Frank, your thoughts on it. Do you think they have a shot? I'm not asking you if you think they're going to do it, but maybe I am. But do you think they have a shot?
100% they have a shot. They have to me, it's like, do you bet them or do you bet the field? And, I would say, remember we used to do that with Tiger Woods? They would say it was so overwhelming that Tiger Woods would probably win each major that he was in for a period of time, that you had a chance of either taking Tiger Woods or the field, because you have how many other golfers that are going to golf in a major championship. So, and it was usually the odds were that Tiger Woods had a better chance of winning than the field did. And in this case, with soccer, with Bundesliga champions Bayern Munich, how great they've looked from last year to this year, I would say you're probably approaching that status where you'd almost get even money on a bet. Maybe not quite, but close to even money on a bet with them versus the field. I wouldn't be afraid to put that money down on them. I wouldn't be.
No, and in fact, we, you and I from time to time will talk about betting on a soccer match, right? We will throw ideas back and forth at each other. I can't think of a time now. Granted, me personally, I've only been following Bundesliga for a couple of years, and it was my son that got me into it. And he had the greatest line I've ever heard about soccer in my life. He said, "You know what? You got to start following Bundesliga, because Bundesliga is what MLS would be if MLS was good." And it immediately, I don't know if he said it like being totally honest or if he knew that would grab my attention. But either way, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm in, and I started watching, I started following it, and I was in two matches, I was hooked. I was like, this is some of the best soccer I've ever seen in my life. Um, and you know me, I've been a La Liga fan since I started watching soccer. You know, I can't tell you how many years ago. I've always been La Liga. It's always been my favorite league. Barcelona, my favorite side. Messi, my favorite player. Uh, but I got to tell you, I found myself over the last, let's say, 18 months watching Bundesliga more and more and more. And I got to tell you, Frank, it's as good as it gets. Oh, we seem to have a bit of a delay. Um, before we get into it, um, and for some reason you're freezing up on me, but we'll. Oh, I lost you. I lost Frank. I can't believe I. Look, trust me when I tell you, he didn't leave me. Okay. Um, there's far. This is right in our wheelhouse. Believe me when I tell you, he didn't leave me. He must have lost his connection someplace. But we're going to talk about the table, and we're going to go every side and what our feelings are about what they've done, what they have they improved, have they not, uh, and then eventually we'll get back to where we think they're gonna end up in the table. Uh, Here we go. Frank's back. Sorry about that, Frank. Oh, and he's frozen again. Um, Hey, you know what? Maybe he's been lying to me. And he really doesn't like German soccer all that much. I don't know. No, I know better. I know better. Um, Whenever he comes back, we're gonna start talking about we're gonna start talking about the table, and we'll probably start at the beginning with Bayern Munich, who has really the what could possibly be the best side on the planet, and you know we'll just kind of go from there. Um, apparently he's having some issues, and I don't want to I don't want to hold him up, but we're gonna talk about Bundesliga. We're gonna talk about the German Cup. It's just unfortunate we're having some connection issues right now, and that's too bad. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Um, Frank, yeah, you said you can hear me. Just it's okay. Don't worry. We'll get this thing figured out. Um, you're connecting over Wi-Fi, and sometimes Wi-Fi can be a little shaky. So let's see what we can do. I still don't have you back, and that's okay. We'll get to it. Um, my favorite side right now, and probably one of my favorite sides in the world, simply because of how they play, is Bayern Munich. Um, they're just phenomenal. Do I have you back, Frank?
Let's try the phone. Let's see if this works better.
There we go. All right,
I'm
that seems to be working a little bit better.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
sorry about that, everybody.
Oh,
So
dude,
sorry.
there's nothing you can do about that. It's I stumbled through. Don't worry, I stumbled through. I figured we'd start at maybe the top of the table, Frank, or did you want to start at the bottom and work your way up?
Let's go to the top because we've already know we're both picking.
Well, you
We're
know
we're
what?
both picking Bayern.
Before we do that, for folks who follow soccer, let me throw these names at you. These are the Americans who are playing in Germany. This is why I said, how important German soccer is to America, okay? Giovanni Reyna is playing for Borussia Dortmund. Tyler Adams, folks, if you're following the U.S. national team, you heard Tyler Adams. He's playing for RB Leipzig. Joe Sargent, another staple in our national team. Werder Berman. John Brooks is playing for Wolfsburg. Timmy Chandler's playing for Frankfurt. Nick Tateague, I hope I said his name right, is playing for Schalke. And Julian Robertson is playing for Union Berlin. So the connection between the U.S. players and Bundesliga is very, very strong. I didn't miss anybody.
Well, no, not at all. But don't forget to mention that Weston McKennie just left Schalke and went to Juventus. So he stepped up from, a decent team to a team that has won 9 straight Serie A championships, and he's playing alongside Ronaldo. And he got his start in the Bundesliga more or less. I think he played in the Dallas FC. He came up through the Dallas FC system, but then he went over to Schalke, I believe, and got his start there. And this is his first year alongside Ronaldo in Serie A. And then we also have the Pulisic, who played with Dortmund 2 seasons ago and has been playing for Chelsea since then. So the connection is very strong.
Let's face it, Frank, I know it's early. Believe me, I know it's early. But he has the potential of being one of the best United States soccer players in our history. He truly has that potential.
He's dynamic. He's got to stay healthy.
He's got to stay healthy. And so far injuries hasn't been a problem for him, but he's young.
Yeah.
But that's how close the U.S. MLS, our national team is, our men's national team is with Bundesliga, right? It's up there.
Yeah, it's wonderful that they're giving our boys chances, and they're playing on great stages, and they're giving them the opportunity to shine to the point where other clubs are looking at them now and saying, I mean, McKennie started the very first game with Juventus. I couldn't even imagine, a few years ago, you'd say Weston McKennie would be the starting number 6 or number 8 in the midfield alongside Ronaldo. Wouldn't have imagined it.
And yet here we are, right?
Yeah.
And yet here we are.
Yeah.
We'll start at the top of the table, and it's no surprise that for anybody, literally every pundit, everybody who follows soccer, everybody who watched it for 5 minutes will tell you the top of the table, the side that is probably going to end up winning Bundesliga is Bayern Munich. Bayern has been my son's favorite side probably for the last 3 years. He's a huge Manchester United fan, incredible Manchester United fan. I mean, he lives and breathes it. But the one side I see him watching more and more and more is Bayern Munich. It's an incredible side. It reminds me so much, as far as dominance goes, of Luis Enrique's Barcelona sides, right? They just don't stop scoring. And they have a midfield that is unbelievable. And I know you're going to talk about more specifics, but Frank, this is a side that's going to beat all of Europe.
Yeah, unless there's injuries or unless there's something that just surprises the heck out of us. I don't see anybody that just individually matches up with them and I say, oh yeah, they got a real good chance of beating Bayern.
Oh, I mean, you look at this side, and I'm just going to throw some names at you. We'll start with Lewandowski, depending on what part of the world you're from. Frank, I've said before, he might be the best number 9 on the planet. I think for a while there it was Suarez, but I think Lewandowski just took over and is like, this guy can't stop scoring. I mean, he's scoring in his sleep.
He's clearly I'll tell you what, Ciro Immobile, who is the premier striker on the Italian national team right now, he scored, and I'm only throwing this out there because I want to tell you what he said about it. And I believe him to be very genuine when he said this. Ciro Immobile outscored Lewandowski last year by 2 goals. And I don't know if many people know that. Ciro had 36 goals across competitions. Lewandowski had 34 goals. So uh, Immobile said, I try to pattern my game after him because he is the premier striker in the world. In this moment, like not 5 years ago, not 4 years ago, right now. He is the guy that everybody tries to be. So that tells you the guy who somehow had the most goals in his league last year says, yeah, that was cool. I got the most goals, but I'm still trying to be like him.
It says a lot, right?
Yeah.
Just their forwards. Okay, well, I believe this has a little bit of their midfield too. Serge Gnabry, Lewandowski, as we said, Leroy Sané, Joshua Zerski, who would be starting damn near anywhere else, Kingsley Coman, if you're a U.S. soccer fan, and the immortal, and I say that with a little bit of tongue-in-cheek, Thomas Muller, right?
Yeah.
Who was his? Let's face it, Frank. At this point, he's closer to our age than he is our kids' age.
Listen,
And
he's had such a rejuvenation over the last 2 seasons, especially last season. They cut him from the German national team, and I mean, like he took it personally. He went out and he just showed everybody, man, I'm still as good as I ever was. He just put together a season last year, like right up there with any he's ever had.
If I don't even want to talk about Hansi Flick yet, their manager, who's done a job that's just unbelievable. Their midfielders, Joshua Kimmich, Javi
Martinez,
right?
Yep.
Goretzka, who is probably one of my favorite midfielders on the planet. Tolisso, who's really starting to jump up there pretty quick. Dude, it's as good a midfield as you're going to find anywhere.
Absolutely. I mean, Kimmich started out his career, I think he was in the maybe the fullback position. So fast, so good on the ball that they couldn't keep him back there anymore. He's a great connector in the midfield. He literally plays the number 6 role, which is a CDM role. He plays it so well, maybe one of the best in the world, really. I mean, the way I've seen him play it. Tolisso is another one that can drop into that role, but he can play, a central midfield. Javi Martinez is not the fastest guy in the world, but another guy that just connects those passes. He reminds me a little bit more of like a Busquets style player, who was, this is Busquets about 4 or 5 years ago. But Goretzka, he's like, to me, when Mueller finally does step down, I think that's Goretzka's spot. I think Goretzka moves right up into that spot. That's how good he is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and before we move on from the forwards, I mean, Leroy Sané, do we even realize, like, this guy is as fast as and as skilled as Serge Gnabry and Kingsley Coman, and you see what those guys did last year, okay? Yeah. Now you're adding Leroy Sané to that mix. Yeah. And Sané seems happy. Like, one of the things about him was he never seemed to quite find his footing with Man City. It was like 1 week he was good, 2 weeks he was good, and then other weeks he just, like, disappeared, right? I mean, he seems happy. He seems ready to go. That's scary. That is really scary.
We look at our Bayern's defenders. Benjamin Pavard. Stellar, right? My favorite defender. Maybe not the best, but just, you have those players that just stand out. It's like you just want to watch them all the time. For me, it's Jerome Boateng, right?
Oh man, been for a long time.
Oh yeah, I mean the guy's a beast. Alphonso Davies, David Alaba, Lucas Hernandez. You just go down the line. I mean, Frank, I know we're talking to these guys like they can walk on water, but oh my God,
do you remember the move?
That's ridiculous.
Do you remember the move that Alphonso Davies put on Nelson Semedo last year in the bad 8-0 game? Do you remember that move? Okay. They said at the time, like tongue-in-cheek, but maybe a little serious too, Alphonso Davies just ended Semedo's Barcelona career. And it's pretty much come true, hasn't it?
Yeah, it did, didn't it? Didn't he just sign with Wolfsburg?
Yeah, he left. He left Barcelona. It's like I can't play for
They're
you.
like, go. You got to go. And let's not forget who is probably the best goaltender on the planet in Manuel Neuer.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, he every now and then he shows he's human, but come on, dude, is there a better goaltender anywhere?
I mean, you and I would like to say Ter Stegen is raw,
Yeah, we would.
not raw, but as good as. But look, Manuel Neuer has got all the ability still at his age, and he's a natural leader. Everybody loves playing with him. I mean, they trust him. They trust him with everything.
Yeah, their their biggest foes or their biggest rival, you know, as we like to say, and it's not really even a derby, even though it is. It's weird. Um, is Borussia Dortmund,
Yeah.
right? Borussia Dortmund is that's where Pulisic started, right?
Yep.
Um,
So Jurgen Klopp took them to a Bundesliga championship in what 2012, I believe it was.
I believe so. I believe so. Borussia Dortmund probably in any other league, including um, including La Liga, would probably be battling for the top spot. Jordan Sancho, Renya, Marco Royce. You can go down the line. Just absolutely insane players. Mats Hummels,
Holland.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, names that if you follow soccer are just they just roll off the tongue, and yet they're almost an afterthought compared to Bayern. Well, what do you think about Borussia Dortmund's chances this year?
I mean, they're definitely solid. They're definitely the team that, to me, it's like Bayern Munich number one, and in my mind, the second spot is there for Dortmund to take. I mean, if they want it and they avoid any major injuries, I think they've got it. Again, you look at their talent up and down their lineup. You threw out some names. I'll throw out some other ones. I mean, this Akanji is a center back. If you've ever seen the guy play, he's lightning fast. He's strong. He can fill in that backside back there and protect the goalkeeper. Lucas Piszczek has been doing it for a while. Very smart fullback. He may move to center back at times. Nico Schultz, another guy that does it really well in the backside of the defense, whether he's center back or fullback at times. Thomas Meunier. This is a new acquisition for them. Meunier came from, I believe, PSG. He can play a CDM role, and I think that's a big addition for them. Axel Witsel has been doing it for a while, and he still does it at a high level. Thorgan Hazard, the brother of Eden Hazard. This all the quality that you'd want. Emre Can. Emre Can is a guy that played midfield for Juventus and did it really well. Just found himself kind of the odd man out at Juventus. This is a team that has a great midfield. Just think about that. Jadon Sancho, Thomas Delaney, Julian Brandt. Brandt has done great things in the Bundesliga. Thomas Meunier, Giovanni Reyna, Axel Witsel, Emre Can, and Thorgan Hazard. I mean, there's too many to play,
Yep.
And then you've got those forwards. We didn't talk about Erling Haaland, the guy from
Oh yeah.
where is he from? Denmark?
Yeah.
Or no, he's from Norway. I can't remember one of the Norwegian countries. I can't remember which one he's from, but
I thought he was from Denmark, but
yeah, he's from either Denmark or Norway. I can't remember. But he was, 19, 20 years old, and he already started making his mark in the Bundesliga.
yep. Like I said, if they were playing in any other league, Frank, they're challenging for the top spot. Even La Liga, they're challenging for the top spot. They have a buzzsaw ahead of them.
Yeah, I can't see them beating by really pretty much a long shot. They can't. I don't think they can beat Bayern. But by the same token, it's hard for me seeing anybody else that really seriously challenges them for the second spot.
No. Third, we have Borussia Mönchengladbach and Leipzig. You can flip and flop those all you want. We'll use Mönchengladbach first, and really in no particular order. I just like saying Mönchengladbach better than saying Leipzig. So, we'll do them first. Dennis Zagaria, Pelea, Lazaro, Valentino Lazaro. What a great midfielder he is. Hans Wolf.
What a great name, huh?
Great name. Even if he's not any good, you just want that name. Traore. I mean, Mönchengladbach's got a squad.
They do.
They have a very, very good squad. Very capable of third place. Maybe God smiling on him a second place finish. Although it would have to take a huge failure or something terrible to happen to Borussia Dortmund in order to get there. But goofy things have happened.
Yeah, it's soccer.
What do you think of Mönchengladbach?
Two things I think of when I think about Gladbach. I think of Jan Sommer, their goalkeeper, because he's pretty much, again, one of these guys that, when he goes to his national team, he's the guy. Yep. And he could be the guy on just about any team in the world. That's how good he is. So when you got somebody at your, backstop, your number one, that's that good, you're going to be in games. Then I think of their strikers. I think of Playa, and I think of that game last year. Do you remember the restart? When I say last year, it was in 2020, but you remember the restart, the very first game after the restart. Do you remember Playa in that game? He came out and he just went crazy. The first two goals,
he was unconscious.
Yeah, and the guy has talent. He has skill. So I think of those two guys, and I think, they have other players. I mean, you named a lot of them, and Mbolo, I think you might even mention him. I like him as a player. I like Zakaria as a player. I've seen those guys play before. But, the two standouts to me are Playa and Jan Sommer. And I think that kind of as they go, those are the fortunes of this team to some extent.
Yeah, I think you're right. Is a third place finish out of the question? I mean, obviously, my feeling is it's going to be Leipzig, but in all honesty, is a third place finish out of the question?
Not out of the question when you put it that way. I think I don't want to always agree because we'll be boring if we do that, but I like Leipzig in the third spot better than I like Mönchengladbach. But
I do too. Yeah.
But I don't think that it's out of the question, and it wouldn't shock me if they in fact jumped Leipzig. But I think Leipzig's the better team.
I do too. I honestly do too. All things being equal, I do too. But like I said, I just like saying Mönchengladbach better, so that's why I put them ahead of Leipzig. But since we're talking about RB Leipzig, RB obviously, folks, let's not kid ourselves, stands for Red Bull. The stadium's actually Red Bull Arena. The one name
the same Red Bull family.
The one name that will stand out as far as American audiences is concerned is Tyler Adams, right? But boy, their style of play is so offensive, so dynamic. You have Marcel Sabitzer, right? Obviously, we said Tyler Adams. Danny Olmo, good player. Kevin Klump. This is a really good, solid team whose the sum of their parts might be greater than the actual parts themselves, right? They just know how to play well together. They feed off each other. Forsberg's a good forward.
Yes,
you have really good players. I don't think you have like that one standout stud great player, but you have a bunch of really good players who really know how to play well together, and that's hard to beat. And I'm curious, what do you think? Is this a third place side?
Yeah, I do think they are. I think what stands out to me is their midfield. They have capable forwards. There's no doubt they have capable strikers or forwards, but I really, really like their midfield. You named the names, but when I see Danny Olmo, he's a Spanish player and he brings a certain kind of Spanish style to his game in the Bundesliga. And then you've got Marcel Sabitzer, who is Austrian, and he plays a very strong midfield game. Tyler Adams, American, as you talked about. Kevin Campbell is, I believe he is, I want to say Slovenian. He's kind of Central Europe. I can't remember which country it is, but the thing that I'm talking about here is those guys all have come together and played together for about 3 seasons, maybe 4 seasons, and they've become a very tight unit, that midfield. And if you've ever you watch them play, that's the strength of this team. And if you've ever played FIFA, just as an aside, every one of those players I just mentioned, they always get special cards. They always win Player of the Week for some week. They always get Team of the Week for some week. Because they're playing out of their minds throughout the season and they earn those rewards. So that tells you when you've got 3 or 4 guys in that same midfield that keep constantly getting Player of the Week's, nominations and mentions in Bundesliga, they've got a strong thing going there in their midfield. Now, like you said, Emil Forsberg is very capable up top. He's not going to light the world on fire, but he doesn't miss chances and he doesn't miss setting up chances. He sets up chances for Poulsen, and Poulsen's very capable. He kind of reminds me of Andy Carroll. You know Andy Carroll for Newcastle United?
Yep.
Tall guy who always gets into the mix and puts the head on the ball when he's in front of the net. To me, that's Yusuf Poulsen. But Poulsen has a little bit extra burst of speed that Andy Carroll doesn't have. But yeah, I think they're very. To me, it's a solid third place team, and I like them. I like their squad. I like their team. I mean, I like the style that they play. Like you said about the offensive style that they play. I like that style. It makes it fun to watch the game.
Yeah, they are a fun side to watch. They really are. Next on our list is I just picked Wolfsburg. It very easily could have been the number 6 side in Bayer Leverkusen, but I just randomly picked Wolfsburg. Believe me when I tell you that is not a prediction. It's just how they fell whenever I was putting our list together. Defenders out the ass, right? William, John Brooks,
Roussillon,
right? Renato Stefan, LaCroix,
and Babu,
right? We're looking at a side that Jose Mourinho would love to manage.
Yeah,
right? You really are. I watched them over the last couple of years, especially against Bayern, and they've just gave Bayern fits. Damn good side, damn good defensive side. Like I said, I listed them as 5th in literally no reason at all. It very well, very, very easily could be Bayer Leverkusen, who we're going to talk about next. So, like I said, don't think of this as a prediction. It's just how they fell. What do you think about Wolfsburg, Frank?
I see them behind Leverkusen, but I don't see them being that far behind them. I just think the quality and the finish isn't quite there for my liking to put them ahead of Leverkusen. But I mean, they're going to be in every game for the most part because of their defense and those defenders that you named. I mean, where did Mbabu come from? Young Boys. He came over from the Swiss league, the Young Boys team, and this guy is lightning fast. Jerome Roussillon is a French player from. He plays fullback on the other side. So you got Roussillon on one side, I want to say left back, and you got Mbabu on the right back. You got Brooks, who's a United States stalwart at defense, center back. I don't see a hole back there at all. But yeah, the quality in their finish isn't quite there for me to say that I like them for the 5th spot. I like Leverkusen just a tad bit better. Maximilian Arnold in the midfield is a strong candidate to be a glue guy all the time. Joshua Julia Vogie, really up there in terms of kind of the world CDMs. Another French player. There's no room for a guy like him on the how are you going to beat out N'Golo Kante, right? On the
Right.
French national team. But he's like the next level down, and that's not so bad.
Yeah. I agree. I agree completely. Speaking of Leverkusen, Bayer Leverkusen, who I also enjoy watch playing. Just throw a name out there for you, Paulinho, right?
Mm-hmm.
Paulinho, great forward. Leon Bailey, up there. Patrick Schick. So this is a side that likes to pressure the ball, that likes to get things going. Bellarabi, Kareem Bellarabi.
Another great forward. Yep, striker. Yep.
I mean, you're just looking at Wendell's a really good defender. You're looking at a side that is a very good, very solid side. I agree with you. I think they're a better team than Wolves, a better side than Wolfsburg is. Maybe fighting for that Champions League, or not Champions League, a Europa League spot. What do you think? They're a good side, Frank.
Yeah, this side has all three levels to me. Okay, you've got the defense, you've got the midfield, and you've got the striker quality. You mentioned the names: Kareem Bellarabi, Patrick Schick has played in different leagues and has been able to put the ball in the net. Moussa Diaby has been able to put the ball in the net. Leon Bailey is another speedster. Seems like Bundesliga has a ton of speedsters that play, left wing or right forward, left forward. Those guys, there's quality right there. Okay, and then the midfield, Arangues. We didn't mention him. Charles Arangues is I believe, a Chilean player. And how many good midfielders out of Chile do we find? Right, Arturo Vidal. We talked about.
Yeah.
We did Serie A and how because he's moving over to Serie A now and he was in La Liga. But yeah, I love Arangues. I think he's a great midfielder. Other than him, that's probably Demirbay. Kerem Demirbay is their other really good midfielder. They really emphasize their forward play as opposed to their midfield play, but their defense. Jonathan Tah is kind of like Jerome Boateng light, if you've ever seen him play.
Yeah.
And then they've got both Benders. They've got this twins, Sven and Lars Bender. They've got Wendell, who's a speedster for a fullback position. They've got a host of great defenders. And Radecki. Radecki is their goalkeeper. So let's say all four levels really back to the goalkeeper is solid. And I could see them challenging for a fourth spot even, let alone a fifth spot.
Maybe. Yeah. That'd be hard to argue with. Just kind of moving through. Now we got Hertha Berlin.
Yep.
Right. Who I'm saying is probably a 7, probably going to end up 7th, maybe 8th. Not quite there, but a very good solid side. Just looking at some of the names, Nicholas Stark, Arne Meyer, Karim Rekic. Again, bunch of defenders. It seems like you're going to start seeing a whole lot of defenders now. Whenever you're getting a look toward the mid-table of Bundesliga. Matthew Allen Leckie, another midfielder, damn good midfielder actually.
Toussaint,
yeah. What do you think, Frank?
Well, the name that jumps out at me, in addition to the ones you named, because those are all good players, the name that jumps out to me is Christoph Piatek. Do you remember Piatek, who played for Milan for one season, and then he went over to, I believe he went to the Premier League for a season, and now he seems to find himself on this squad. And I would be willing to bet this is where he'll start to find his footing. He's a very young Polish striker. And you may see him. There were some projections. I'm going to tell you something. There were some projections that this guy might be, in a few years, we're talking 4 or 5 years from when he first came into the league, have the makings of the next Lewandowski. So let's see what Piatek does this year. this might be his year to start breaking out.
Boy, it'd be nice to see. You know, I mean, it really would be nice to see. Um, let's go on to Hoffenheim. um, a couple of days from now, on the 27th, they are going to they're going to be home to Bayern. That's unfortunate for them. Last time they played Bayern back in on February or the 29th, Bayern beat them 6-0. They have a pretty good side. I don't think they're going to be challenging for any kind of European play later at all. But Kramaric, their forward, Vaught, a midfielder. Ballman is their goalkeeper. He's a pretty good goalkeeper, actually. After that, not a whole lot to write home about, but still, I've seen them pull off upsets that I can't believe they won. You know?
Yeah.
What do you think of what do you think of this side?
You know, I mean, there's definitely these sides are the type of sides that are going to they're going to fight. Um, they're not going to lay down. Even when they do play, even when they do play the Bayerns of the world, yes, they have gotten beat by them bad before, but I think they put it out of their mind. Um, they're going to come out and fight. They're going to play a style of football that's going to try to keep them in the game. You know, the thing about Bayern Munich is, I think they're probably going to say, look, we'll give our best in that game. And they will. They won't lay down for them. But if they get beat 4-0, 6-1, 5-1, they're just going to say it's a learning experience. And then we're going to play everybody else. You know, we're going to play everybody else tough. And we're going to have a better result against everybody else. So, you know, they wouldn't surprise me to come in the top 7. At the same time, it wouldn't surprise me to say that they'd be 8th, 9th, or 10th too, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I think we're going to be saying that a lot about a couple of the sides coming up behind them. Frankfurt's next on the list. Eintracht Frankfurt. Kevin Trapp's their goaltender. David Abraham. Timothy Chandler, Andre Silva, Sebastian Rode, who, believe it or not, I like the few times I've seen him, and Danny DaCosta too. Believe it or not, I kind of like him.
Yeah, I was going to mention him if you didn't.
Yeah, good side, solid side, definitely middle of the pack side though. I think probably don't forget there's only 18 teams in Bundesliga. There's not the normal 20. I could see them ending up literally in the middle of the pack. But still, got some good players on that side, dude.
They do, you know, Bas Dost, for everybody that's watched world soccer for a long time, Bas Dost is somebody that he knows how to still score goals. He gets himself in position and he finishes. And then you got Andre Silva, who you mentioned. Andre Silva is probably an underrated, underutilized striker that anytime could probably turn on and score, you know, a hat trick. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a hat trick next to his name this season. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple braces next to his name this season. Yep. But even with that said, they have enough quality to hang around a lot of games. I love Danny DaCosta as a fullback. I really think that Martin Hinteregger is coming along as a center back. He's going to be a fixture in the Bundesliga and in world soccer as a center back for a long time to come. But there's enough holes there that, yeah, this isn't a team that really challenges the top 6 or 7 in this league, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. Good side, but,
yeah,
you know, they're not Bayern and Borussia Dortmund don't have anything to worry about. Werder Bremen is next. The reason I I kind of like them and I kind of follow them is simply for Josh Sargent,
Yeah.
American forward, um, young kid, got a whole hell of a lot of potential ahead of him, can score some goals. Um, Davy Clausen's well, he's a midfielder, but good player. Um, I'm looking at them as probably top of the bottom half of the table. I would think probably going to end up a 500 side. I would think. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they probably fall apart at the back end of their the back end. The defensive side is going to have some breakdowns from what I can see here. They're not bad, but they're just not up to snuff in terms of being able to keep enough players out. Yeah, I like Davy Klaassen. He's getting a little bit older, but I believe he's a Dutch player that's been playing for a while and doing it at a high level.
Yeah,
Quality midfielder. Another good midfielder they have is Augustine. Um, he's a younger guy who's coming along pretty well. But yeah, it's really fun to see. It's fun to see Josh Sargent developing on this team,
yeah,
and
it
they
is.
give him a lot of opportunity. I mean, his number is called a lot. He gets into the starting lineup. They're playing passes to him a lot. They're setting up plays for him to try to score, and more often than not, you see him in a highlight now and again, right?
Right.
Um, so it's fun to watch them, but yeah, I think that they break down a little bit on the defensive end. They have a good goalkeeper though,
Yeah, he
Palenka,
does.
but he's not going to be able to stop everything that's going to be coming at him.
No, no, he's going to get peppered. Um, folks, like that's what we've been saying. Look, if you really want to follow some of the I don't want to say the better American players, but definitely the more well known names. Uh, Once you get out of Chelsea in the Prem, watch Bundesliga because there's just a boatload of American players there. FC Köln is next on the list, Frank.
Love their logo.
Yeah, I do too. I really do too. Uh, it is probably my second favorite crest in the world. Maybe my third. I think my favorite crest is probably Atletico Madrid's, with just the bear trying to knock something out of a tree,
Yeah,
and then Tottenham with the rooster standing on the beach ball. And now you have the Cone roster or the Cone crest, which is basically a um, what am I drawing a blank, Frank?
it's like a billy goat standing on top of
Yeah,
a circle with a famous architectural building featured inside the circle. But yeah, I mean, it's just so cool. It's so unique. Like, who would ever put that on their crest? It's just so neat.
uh, it is unfortunate the side's not as good as their crest.
Right.
Uh, Zealers, their goaltender, Jonas Hector, a good midfielder. Timo Horn is their second goaltender, is who I believe it or not I actually kind of like. I've seen him a couple of times. He stepped up pretty well. Skahiri, Elias Skahiri is a good midfielder. Kind of tapers off after that, unfortunately. But I can tell you, last year there was at least one game that they gave Bayern fits. I was thinking that this was not going to be an easy game for them, and I was right. What do you think?
I'll say a name to watch on their team is Florian Kainz. Florian Kainz is a guy that he'll end up doing good things. He'll have a very good soccer career. He's already started a good soccer career, and just watch him as his career grows. He's like such a good quality midfielder. Just keep an eye on him.
I'm kind of starting to go through these kind of quick right now.
Yep.
Next on the list, like I said, for no particular reason, was Union Berlin, FC Union Berlin.
Yep.
Max Cruz, good forward. Sebastian Anderson, Christian Gender is a good midfielder. Christopher Tremmel, who I like as a defender.
Yep.
I'm looking at them as probably 12th, 13th, something like that. What do you think? What do you think of this side?
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. I do like Cruz up top. It seems like they have a lot of continuity from year to year, which could be a good thing for them this year. The other defender that I like on their side is Christopher Lenz, in addition to Trimble. I think Lenz and Hubner, but especially Lenz. So, they're stronger at the back, and throughout a season, they'll steal a game here and there. But
Yeah.
I can't argue with you. I think 12's good.
Uh, as number 13, I put as Schalke. Schalke, poor guys. Bayern
Started
dropped
with
8 on
Bayern.
them. Yeah. Well, you know what? You might as well get it out of the way, right?
Right.
um, they didn't show me a whole lot other than the fact that they just didn't quit. Nastasic's a decent goaltender, as is Stamboli. Sane too. Rudy's a decent midfielder. It kind of really drops off after that. The problem that Schalke has that I noticed right away is there's just no scoring threat there at all.
Right.
And well, go ahead. I mean, there's not a whole lot more I can say about it.
Amin Hart is a good midfielder. Mark Uth, their striker, can get some things going. Bergstaller is okay, but they're not consistent enough. They're not gonna run by anybody. But Mark Uth he's strong and he gets in good position. And I like Ralph Farman as their goalkeeper. When they do start him, he's capable of having great games. Of course, when he's going to play against the Bayerns of the world, he's going to have those problems. But yeah, I mean, Schalke a couple of years ago was a team that could challenge the top 10.
Yeah.
Right now, no, I don't think so. I think they're probably, to me, I think it's good if they would somehow finish 13th. Because like you said, the scoring is going to be very sporadic and not,
Yeah.
say it another way, it's just not consistent enough. That's all.
No, they're just gonna have a hard time putting the ball in the net.
Yeah.
Augsburg's next. Reese Oxford, an English guy, good midfielder. Tobias Strobel. After that, they have that. What the hell's his name? Jay Kilcool, I think is his name. I hope I'm saying it correctly. Well, he's not even there anymore. Never mind. And Andre Hahn. I'm looking at probably 14 out of 18, maybe.
They got some bright pieces. Finn Bogason, who was I think he's an Icelandic player that kind of one of their premier strikers for Iceland. Very capable. In the midfield, they've got Daniel Caligiuri, who is he's a converted defender, but kind of along the same lines as a Joshua Kimmich. He was so fast and so good on the ball that they kind of had to move him up. At one point, Daniel Caligiuri played wingback, so he was a fullback pushed up on the pitch a little bit, and now they've just straight up moved him into the midfield. So, there's some bright spots, but not enough. I do think that they'll challenge the 15th spot. They'll have their moments, but I don't think they're going to finish anywhere above that.
No, I don't either. Like I said, we're going through this pretty quick because we're getting toward the bottom. Freiburg is next. This year they're in the top league. Next year, God knows where they're going to be. They constantly bounce between the first and second tiers of German soccer. Vincenzo Grifo, maybe Borello is probably the only two I can think of that are maybe Abrashi, maybe that are names that people may or may not know.
Vincenzo Grifo. Grifo is a guy that is known in world soccer to some extent. I don't know if he bounces between midfield, sometimes out on the left side, uh, sometimes up at left forward. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of recognizable names out there.
Uh-oh. Um, Whenever I was putting this list together, they ended up being 15th, and again for no apparent reason other than I didn't recognize the last three, the last three on the list.
Yeah, they just got called up, I guess, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Armenia Bielefeld is next on the list. Um,
Sorry, we're not going to have much to say about them.
no, I'm sorry. I mean, after Mike Vanderhoen, who's a defender, and I don't see him staying there much longer. He's 27, so maybe his best day or his he doesn't have a whole lot of clout left, but pretty good player. Fabian Klaus, okay.
Yeah.
Anything else really stick out to you to get him out of 16th?
No, I'm perusing their squad roster, and I really don't see too much jumping out at me. I wish I had something to say. You know what? I'll watch them. I'll watch them this year and see if they might have some young players that could be, ready to make a mark and look for, a new landing spot. Or maybe somebody that's going to lead this team out of the darkness. But as of right now, it'll be a surprise to me to see somebody come up and step up really big for this team.
Mainz is next, Mainz. Their claim to fame is Jurgen Klopp was a player for them. But
I've heard of them at least. I've got some folks on this team that I've recognized.
Yeah, you may have heard of him at some point, right? Sandro Schwartz was too. But Jean-Paul Bidas, he's 26. But I'm looking at a roster, and I want to throw a couple of positions at you. Okay.
Okay.
Robin Zenner is 25. He's a goaltender, so that he's just starting to get around. Finn Damien is 22. Omar Hannon is 22. Liesengag is 20. Saint Juste is 23.
I know of him. Yep.
Yeah, right. Aaron Martin is 23. Luca Killen is 21. Leonardo Martins is 20. Nicholas Talver, 19. Let's face it, they're going to get their clocks clean. But, dude, young team, young squad.
Yeah.
Probably going to make a little bit of a name for themselves, and then they're going to end up getting great, right? Because all the big sides are going to come after them with a whole lot of money, and these guys aren't going to be able to say no. But a young side can be really exciting to watch. These young sides under 25, right? For the most part, that side's under 25. Yeah. They can be really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, they're going to lean on the experience of Robin Quaison, Quaison, who, if you remember, he's had some decent seasons in the Bundesliga. I mean, he's not ever in the top, 5, 7, 8 scorers, but he's got enough of a name that he's carried some things at times as a striker. Danny Latza, midfielder, is another guy that's got some experience. So I can see them saying, like, there are young guys out there. Let these guys Latza will be the leader in the midfield. Quaison will be the striker leader. And then, you see what you get out of these defenders. Saint Juste is it's going to be exciting to see how he evolves and how he develops.
Yeah.
He's got so much raw talent. We'll see what happens there.
And then to round it up as a Stuttgart number 18, and we're going to take a total 180 here, okay? Jans Graal, who's a goaltender, but he's 32, so he still has 10 years left ahead of him. I'm being
as a goalkeeper, yeah.
Yeah, because he's a goaltender, right? Daniel Didavi's 30. Gonzalo Castro's 33. We're going to go down the line. Kaminsky, Marcin Kreminsky's 28. I can just go on down the roster. They're all in their mid to upper 20s. A couple of them in their 30s. Stuttgart was in the second tier last year. Made their way up. They're going back down. there's nothing about that side that really gives you any kind of excitement or looking forward to, you know, like we talked about ahead of them, right? With Mainz, we have such a young side, and young sides are exciting. Okay, I'm sorry, they are, because you're never really sure what you're going to get out of them, right? I mean, they look this week, they may look like they can beat, you know, the best sides in Europe, and then 2 days later in some stupid cup, they look like they don't even belong on the pitch. Stuttgart, though, Frank, I don't see them sticking around after this season.
No, but if you want to go look for some really good German cars, you go to Stuttgart and you'll see where they make them.
Yeah, yeah, great cars, poor soccer side. As always, over the last couple of years, I am really, really excited about Bundesliga. You know, Nick was right. I'm sorry, he was right. There's no other way to put it that if you like MLS, and we're going to be talking about MLS next week, hopefully Lou's with us, so he has a whole week to prepare to, you know, pick out one or two teams that he thinks has a shot at winning something. He's not going to even know what the hell we're talking about, but we're going to give the opportunity, right? But just the style of play that full out, we're just going to punch you, you're going to punch me. It's going to get real exciting. We're all going to try to score. Really exciting. And soccer, if you really, really want to get a good taste of what exciting soccer can be, Bundesliga is the thing, is the league you should be watching, in my opinion. It may be my second favorite league in the world right now. I mean, for the longest time, La Liga was, but I kind of jumped on Serie A because I saw it starting to come around, but boy, Bundesliga is fun.
I think for pure entertainment purposes and for the fact that you're going to probably see the best soccer team in the world on any given Sunday, Saturday in Bayern Munich, it's a league that it deserves a follow, and I guarantee you now that it's on ESPN Plus this year. I will watch many more of those games than I have previously, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah. You know what? Honest to God, Frank, with all, because I don't have cable, right? So I subscribe to this and I subscribe to that. Best value I've ever gotten has been ESPN Plus. Believe it or not, just the amount of soccer that you're able to see and ESPN FC and everything else, it's absolutely tremendous. I don't know, Frank, I don't think I'm paying $10 a month for this thing, and it's phenomenal.
I mean, it's somewhere between what, $6.95. Maybe even cheaper in some places, but I think it's $6.95 a month.
Something like that, right? And if you get the Disney Plus thing, then it's even cheaper. It ends up costing you like $2 more than, you know, if you bundle it with Disney Plus or something like that. Well worth your money. It's tremendous. Mm-hmm. Frank, I hate ending it, you know, as quickly as we are, but boy, I so enjoy watching Bundesliga and talking soccer with you. Is there anything you want to throw out there before we call it?
I mean, I think that I'm really excited about this weekend coming up. Soccer in every league has some exciting stuff evolving. There's moves still going on. This is something else that Patsy, you and I think when we add Lou, it's going to be fun to kind of get him up to speed on the whole transfer thing, because as an American sports fan, this is going to be a novel concept to him. So, you know, I would say this just as a caveat to what we just did today. It's unlikely to change the top two spots, but just remember, there are still moves being made, and, you know, things can change a little bit. So, and maybe a lot, you know, there could be some teams that add a piece or lose a piece here and there. And it may change significantly the way we've evaluated these teams. But it's something fun to watch. So keep an eye out for those things.
And for everybody, if you come back tomorrow, please leave us a message. Ask Lou if he really thinks the Bundesliga is German for female dog. Okay? Frank, as always, it's a pleasure, and talking soccer with you and just taking a break from the chaos that we have here in the States is a very nice change, and I truly do look forward to talking soccer with you on Wednesdays.
Absolutely.
So
Thank
for
you.
everybody watching, thank you all very much. Tomorrow though, back to the grind, right? We have to, folks. If we got to defend our country. If we can't, I don't know who the hell's going to, because it's certainly not our, certainly not the guy that's the head of it. But another argument for another day. Until then, everybody, thank you so very much for watching and joining us. And until we meet again, same bat time, same bat channel. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow. Bye bye.